Along the railroad tracks on the north side of Big Timber, Montana, sits an aging brick building, surrounded by grain elevators and a few older houses. Encased in names and whipped by the prairie wind, it sits low and wide across the horizon, dormant but impending. Intrigued by what this landscape is and what it means to those who call this community home, our story begins.
I almost feel like I'm lying every time I tell that. But in the world, at one time it was the biggest wool shipping spot in the world. And if you don't want to believe that, we have papers at home that proves it.
Yeah.
Big Timber was kind of built on the sheep industry. I mean, it was known for the sheep and the amount of lambs that were produced in the county and the wool. And I think we're the only high school in the world that the mascot is a sheep herder.
There was a lot of sheep here, and they had to have some place and some way to deal with the wool, so, and then it could be stored there, you know, and then picked up from the railroad.
But anymore, we take about 4 hours and we ship 2 semi-loads. Yeah, this is the second wool house. The first one burnt. The first
wool
house
yeah,
burned down.
Yeah. I don't know if it was bigger or less. It must have been smaller. I think we used to see a picture of us auctions, like hundreds of them, pulling wool.
I think they thought they had more buying power with volume than they did as an individual.
There was jobs for a lot of kids, teenage kids, boys, worked down there.
The people that started signing at first, they were employed there all summer. That's all they did all summer long was load cars on the railroad. At one time, about 1 million pounds of wool went through there. But right now, I think there's about 60,000 pounds. So you can see the difference.
Yeah, my grandpa had a big sheep thing going on when he was when my mom was younger.
So what do you think it represents today?
Just a history, not really anything more than that.
You can just smell the wool when you step in there. It brings me back to the time when I did have sheep. We raised sheep all of my married years, and even after my husband passed away, I raised them too for a while by myself. So, of course, it makes me think of him too then, and in our family. If they were sheep raisers, and that's where you made your money by selling lambs and or wool or whatever you did, you appreciate the smell.
My name is David Breck, and I'm the president of the Sweetgrass County Wool Marketing Association. Climbed up on these square sacks we had here and wrote. Ward officer down here, they lived on the place that we live on now, west of Big Timber, and we live about a mile from where my mom grew up. Most recent has been on this building that's the smallest. My name's up in the peak there in '09.
David Breck?
Yep. My wife Jennifer and my dad Steve and my mom Shirley. Throw the wool bags in and compact them. We like them to be between 400 and 500 pounds for shipping purposes. Put them in containers because everything is worldly now. I don't know, we got to figure out some way to keep this going, to keep young people coming into it, because we can't depend on everything coming from overseas. We still have to produce.
I think it represents a way of life that's fading away.
Yeah.
You know, you just don't see as many ranch families as you used to. And it still kind of stands there as a testimony to the old-time ranchers and their sheep and their families. The ranches used to be handed down through the generations, and they aren't being now. They're being sold to outsiders because property values have gotten so great.
I hope it's not going to lose its identity, but, you know, it was the wool house, it still is the wool house, and hopefully it will be the wool house. But we don't know that.